Yo, 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 what is up, everybody? This is Colin, back at it again with episode 6 of A New Direction, the podcast where I talk about all sorts of things, ranging from all sorts of topics. And today I have a sort of different episode in store for us. There's definitely going to be a kind of change in direction here. Only maybe for this episode. We'll see how the reception kind of is for this, but today I only have two topics to talk about. However, the last topic is going to be kind of like a deep dive discussion about personal stuff and just like things I've learned through my life, I guess, and just, I don't know. It's something that I've kind of been wanting to talk about for a little bit, but kind of been putting it off. And I'm home from a nice long closing shift at Firehouse, and I figured today would be a great time to have this discussion. So I'm interested to see kind of the feedback on this style and kind of recommendations for other topics that I may be able to do these kind of deep dives into. But starting off, like usual, we've got the music recommendation for the episode, and today my recommendation is going to be the album Copacetic by Knucklepuck, which is like a hardcore, like pop punk kind of style. A genre that I'm not very into otherwise. Like, I don't really listen to a lot of hardcore or pop punk, really. Um, but I do really like this album a lot. Every song on here is really good. And I kind of discovered it. I discovered this album after my first breakup, like, ever. And metal really was not hitting as a coping mechanism for me. At this time in my life when I kind of found this album for the first time, I was kind of like almost like a metal elitist, I guess. I would only really listen to metal. I would only recommend metal to people, and I didn't really have a very open sort of taste. Like, I was only listening to metal music, and that was kind of like my whole, music catalog was just like deathcore, very extreme metal like deathcore and stuff like that. And so that really wasn't working. I was kind of going through this fresh pain in my life, and that music was not helping whatsoever. And metal's really good, like for headbanging and getting out your negative kind of emotions, but it's hard to relate to metal the same way that you can relate to something like this. And so I think that's really too where a lot of people's appreciation for music comes from is, our ability to relate to the lyrics and what the singer or the songwriter is trying to portray with their music. And so I found this album and I really like related to it, I guess, at the time. And it's a very kind of angsty album. And so some people might not like that, but I really appreciated it, and it helped me cope a lot. And it has always kind of stuck by my side as I don't know, an album I listen to when I am kind of in a similar kind of state where I'm kind of down, I guess. It's an album that I really like to listen to. And I highly recommend it. If I were to give it like a rating, I would definitely give it like a solid 7 or 7.5 out of 10. It's a really good album, and I highly recommend checking it out to anybody who wants to kind of dip their toes into this genre, because it is a really good example of like hardcore pop punk kind of style music. It is a very, very good example, and there's even like a blast beat in there or two. So anybody, even the metalheads, can kind of, I guess, appreciate that. But anyway, that transitions us in here to the first topic of this video or podcast episode. We're going to be talking about a movie that I just went to see yesterday. So this is being recorded on the 12th. It's not going to go out until, I believe, like the 18th or something like that. So this one is being recorded on the 12th, and I just went to see this movie yesterday, and I believe it came out on the 8th, so fairly very recent release. That was kind of a tongue twister. But I just went to see this movie. Me and my brother went to see it, and we drove a whole hour pretty much away to see this movie because none of the local theaters were showing it. It was kind of like, I guess, a limited sort of release or something. I don't know. But this movie is called Lamb, and it was directed by this gentleman who, I'm going to butcher his name, I think, but my pronunciation is Valdemar Johansson. This is an Icelandic movie, and so it's a very artsy type movie. Like, it's not one of those movies that you go into it and it's very cut and dry. Like, this is definitely one of those movies that would benefit from a second viewing, which I am going to definitely take part of as soon as I can. But yeah, it's one of those movies you definitely want to watch like 2 or 3 times. And it kind of, I'm not going to, and before I go on any further, I want to make it clear I'm not going to spoil anything about this movie. I'm not going to, drop any major details about the plot or anything. I guess I'm just going to be talking a little bit what I got from it and kind of just a little bit about the movie. But it was released, like I said, I believe on the 8th, and it's it's one of those movies where it's very well shot. The cinematography is very good, and the sound design is also, all the sounds are very good and even useful to the plot in some places. They definitely did a good job kind of sequencing everything and telling the story through the cinematography, and the acting was good. The actors definitely, I felt, kind of play a, not like a back burner role, but the movie, the actors, you're not even really told a lot about the characters of the movie even until like 30 or 45 minutes in. So the characters are kind of second in this movie. It's definitely a kind of a story, like you're supposed to infer things about it and kind of come to your own conclusions, and that is again why I would recommend a second viewing. But it was very good, very enjoyable movie. It was definitely worth the hour's drive that me and Connor made to go see it. And shout out to Connor. I just want to take a second to shout out Connor because Connor is my brother, and he is honestly like one of my best friends. And my friend group, we'll talk a little bit about this later, is not big at all. And Connor is definitely one of my best friends, and I love him to death. So shout out to Connor, who is probably watching this, hopefully. But yeah, I just wanted to give him some love in this episode. But we went to go see it. Highly recommend going to view it. It's hard for me to give it like a rating, I guess, right now. But if I had to give it like a first viewing, I'd definitely give it like a 7.5 out of 10, maybe an 8. It'll definitely be interesting to see kind of after a second viewing of it how my rating will change, and I'll definitely make like an update about that whenever I'm able to watch it. But yeah, that's Lamb, a good movie. Would highly recommend checking it out. It's definitely a thought-provoking movie, so I would recommend it to people who are into stuff like that. But that kind of is going to segue here into our last topic. And I know you're like, last topic, we're only like, what, almost 8 minutes in here? But this is probably going to take up like a majority of the video. And this video might be a little bit shorter than the others, even, just because it is only 2 topics, but we'll see. But this last sort of topic here for the video is going to be like a deep dive into like connecting with other people and like friendships and relationships and things like that, and kind of like I guess just detailing like things that I've learned in my life and like wisdom I've gained through the different experiences I've had in my life. And this is something that's kind of been I guess prominent here in my life recently, and so it's something I've wanted to kind of talk about and express and just kind of give my opinion on. And so hopefully it will be a good, I don't know, almost like a coping mechanism maybe, or at the very least it'll help benefit somebody who is maybe in a similar spot and, just needs advice or wants to hear, someone else talk about it. But I guess we're going to start off here just by general, like connecting with other people, approaching other people. This is something that I guess in my life has always been difficult for me. And a lot of people that I meet and talk to will say I'm very social, but I feel like that's not necessarily true. I definitely am not very, like, I'm not one to make the first move, I guess, like when I'm, interested in meeting somebody. I'm very shy and kind of reserved. I have a hard time opening up and talking to people that I don't know very well. And so it kind of makes it difficult for me to, I guess, meet new people and make new friends. Now, when somebody's more approaching to me, like they'll talk to me first or say something first, I'm very good at continuing conversation. Like I'm good at maintaining a conversation. And that's kind of how I get better at, meeting these people and becoming friends with people is, other people, I guess, making the first move. And I guess that's definitely like a confidence thing, like a self-confidence thing. Like, I'm not hugely confident when it comes to social situations, just because of, I guess, past experiences that I've had. I'm a little bit reserved when it comes to meeting new people. I'm a little bit hesitant, but you know, I'm working on that. That's definitely something that it requires kind of work and making yourself get out of your comfort zone a little bit. And that's really what it's about, I would say, is it's definitely like a comfort zone type thing where, it's uncomfortable to be out of that comfort zone. And you're kind of like, I want to meet people. I want, that person over there is kind of cool, but like, I don't really want to talk to them or know how to talk to them. And I'm just gonna stay that way because it's comfortable to just not make a move. And so it kind of challenging yourself in those situations and being able to go up and say something or find a way to make conversation, because even for people that are social, if there's somebody that they're interested in knowing that they don't know at all, it can be kind of difficult to approach people. What the best way to make a move to approach somebody. And a lot of people will say, like, you just go up and talk to them, say hi, but that's a multifaceted sort of thing. Like, I don't know, when I think about doing that, and maybe this is just me, I don't know, but when I think about like going up and saying hi to somebody, it's very bold, which is a good thing. Like, it's good to come off as confident like that, but it's also like, I'm not prepared to do that. Like, I don't know what to say after that, or I don't know the best way to go about introducing myself, making a good first impression. And I guess it's because I'm just a reserved person in that sense. And like I said, it's definitely something I'm working on and trying to become better at. But I still find it difficult to approach new people that I don't know. And that again kind of plays in part like doing group work. I'm not very good in groups. People have told me that I noticeably fidget when I'm in like a group setting. Um, and I definitely notice that as well. I have a bad habit of like, fidgeting, drumming, or, drumming with my fingers or biting my fingernails. Like, I fidget when I'm in these kind of group situations, and I get kind of uncomfortable. And I don't know. I find it hard being in social settings like that. It's harder for me to open up, and, I kind of come off as very shy and fidgety like that. But there again, it's like once people start talking to me, I do a much better job because I'm able to kind of maintain a conversation. And having conversation, like, I like talking to people, so it's kind of odd that I don't, I have trouble, I guess, interacting with new people, because I really enjoy talking to people, and I enjoy talking about things, as y'all definitely understand by this point with this podcast. I talk about a lot of different things, and I don't know, it's just kind of interesting that I'm so shy when it comes to meeting new people, even though I like to talk to people as much as I do. But I don't know. That's kind of like my connecting with other people sort of part of this. I guess it's like a three-part discussion here. So that was the first part. Next, we have like friendships. Um, Friendships are definitely like, I guess I want to start out my overarching view on this, because I've found through my life, at least, that they're almost like different kinds of friends. Like, you have friends that you hang out with and you're really close with, like your best friends that you tell everything to and you trust them completely. And that would be like Devin for me. In my life, personal experience, shout out to Devin. um, you have like your really close friends that you almost consider like brothers. And then you kind of have like your school friends, like the people that you talk to at school and are even friends with kind of at school, but like outside of school, you don't really talk much, you don't make any moves, or, you don't hang out really that much. And then you have like your work friends, like the people that you work with and don't really talk too much outside of work, like your colleagues. Those are like the three categories, I guess, in my opinion, for this. And so, like, for your close friends, like, I think it's very nice to have people that you can hang out with and fully trust. And, you know, me and Devin, for example, like, we go back a long time. I've known Devin since sixth grade, and we got really really close, like, at the end of middle school. playing Call of Duty. We would party up on Xbox and play Black Ops 2 together. And, we've just been really close, especially kind of this year, or starting it like in the beginning of 2020. Um, we got really close kind of with the pandemic and everything that hit. And so we just got really close through that. And, it's really cool to have somebody that I can fully trust and talk to about things like that. And, I think it's very important that you have at least one close friend like that, somebody that you can, um, somebody that you can talk to like that and be that open with. And, that kind of, and I guess like that almost brings up the point, like, who can your friends be? Because, like, I say like having a close friend. Like a close friend doesn't have to be somebody you know from school. Like it could be like somebody from work, or it could be somebody in your family. Like my brother, for example, Connor is somebody like that for me as well. Your parents to an extent. If you have a more open relationship with your parents like that, your parent could definitely be somebody that could be like a close friend in that regard. Even though your parent serves a different role. Somebody that you can confide in. Now with school friends, I definitely have a lot of school friends, people that I talk to a whole bunch, especially like in high school. And I guess that also kind of comes to along with graduating, like you just fall off with a lot of people. But even with school friends, like these were people I don't even like. There were people that I talked to in high school every day that I would never hang out with outside of school, like would barely talk to outside of school. And I think that's a very common thing. Like you have your school friends, and you meet a lot of your best friends, like your closest friends, at school. So it's not to say that your school friends can't be your best friends or your work friends can't be your best friends. It's just kind of the way I look at it. Like in my life, that's kind of how it's been. Like I've had my close friends, my the people I know at school, and then the people at work that I've met. Um, but like your school friends, like you can be close with those people and talk to them. But, I know there were definitely a lot of people in school that like I was very casually friends with. They weren't people that I would, confide in about anything or, anything like that. People that that I was comfortable enough to share my deepest kind of feelings with. There was definitely not a lot of school friends that I had like that. Um, but I think like your close friends too, like even still, like with close friends, there are things you don't share. And, I don't know. I think it's very important to be, open and, communicate with people and share how you feel. And, I think that's a big thing with close friends. And like, I find that in my friendships, they're very much open. Like we communicate if there's something that we're not down with or that we're doing that, the other person doesn't like, we talk about it. Like we talk it out. Like, I don't know. We don't really fight or bicker. We just kind of talk things out. And I think that's cool. I think that's very important with friendships is that you're friends with people who you're able to do that with. Like you're able to talk things out with. I think that's very important because, friendships can fall apart very easily if people aren't able to communicate and talk things out or handle criticism. And so I think it kind of shows who your true friends are in that sense. But, your school friends, like your best friends you can meet at school, and I think that's important, finding the people at school that you can really trust and hang out with a lot and get close with. I think that's important. um, and then as far as like work friends, like I don't know, I've never been very close with a lot of my work friends. Like that's not 100% true, but in overall, like I haven't had a lot of close work friends, and I've met former like relationship partners at work before. It's like that kind of thing happens. Like you can meet your closest friends at work, and that even your relationship partners and stuff at work, and the same at school as well. But you know in general, like my experience with work is like there are people that I talk to at work and then I never talk to outside of work. I never hang out with them. And I've worked a few different jobs and had different friends everywhere in this area, like in these kind of categories. My work friends, I definitely met like the fewest people that I actually talked to outside of work, if that makes sense. Like the people I met at work who I consider my work friends were people that I really never talked to outside of work. It has like the fewest amount of people that ever became more than just work friends to me. Um, but yeah, I mean, you can meet close people at work, and I think that's a good thing. Being able to trust your colleagues and coworkers and whatnot. But I don't know, I'm very leery of people in general. I think that kind of plays into like how I was talking earlier about why I'm so reserved of making the first move when it comes to social interactions. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that I'm just very like leery of people in a way. I don't know, but I think that your work friends and your school friends are definitely very important to have as well. And so that kind of transitions here into the last part of the discussion here. It's like relationships, so like romantic relationships. And there's really a lot of things that I could say about this. I've had my own before, and you go through heartbreak, and it's a very hard thing going through relationships sometimes. Like there are moments that are just really hard and that hurt you, and then there are moments that are quite the opposite that really make you feel great and build you up. But I am very much one to believe that everybody that you meet and everything that happens just in general, like everything that happens in your life and the people you meet, like that all happens, as it's meant to happen, I guess. Like I definitely believe that it's like a meant to be kind of thing almost. Like, and not in like the sappy like like it's meant to be like love at first sight type thing, which that is a real thing, but love is definitely very multifaceted, and so it's kind of a very linear, narrow approach if you're looking at it that way. And it does work out sometimes, but sometimes it doesn't, and quite frequently it doesn't. Just realistically, but like I mean in the sense that like I don't know, like everybody that you meet and like the romantic relationships that you have with people, like everything that happens and goes on is like a learning experience for you as an individual. The relationships that you have kind of help refine your standards for relationships, like who you go for, what traits you look out for, what characteristics you look out for. I think that romantic relationships and the relationships that you have with people, everything is a learning experience. Like it is, you are able to take things away from it that teach you something, that are able to allow you to improve as a person. And relationships are hard. Like I think I say that like relationships are very delicate things. Like the strongest of relationships can be brought down by even the slightest distrust or lack of communication. Like relationships, in order to survive and thrive, have to be open with, you have to be very open with communication and what you're, how you're feeling, what your thoughts are about things. And you have to be very open to discussion, and you also have to be very open to criticism, like being able to, hear things that, may not reflect positively on you, and be able to kind of hear someone else's view on that, and work on ways to improve in those areas. You have to be open to criticism and communication, and just in general, like relationships, you have to be very compatible. You've got to have a very good chemistry with somebody. You've got to be very trusting and be very open with these people that you meet. And it's very important in relationships that you are as open and like honest as you can be, because distrust is where distrust eats away at people over time. It becomes a paranoia. It becomes it can become bad. Distrust kind of creates these cracks and fissures in relationships that ultimately cause them to fall apart. And so that's why you have to be very good at communicating and talking and, being very open with your partner. And, I have a lot of things in my life, and, I'm able to look back on the relationships that I've had in my life and see the things that I have done wrong, the things that, the places where I messed up, where I made, where I goofed up and made issues. And, I'm able to see those things and look back and, reflect on those things and learn from them. I'm able to learn, what I look for in people. I'm able to learn how to, better myself as an individual so that I can be better in a relationship with somebody else. And I think that growth in relationships is also a very important thing, because, as individuals, as you age, you grow, you mature, your maturity level changes. The things that you look out for and think are important change as you get older. And I think relationships, good, healthy, strong relationships adapt to those things and are able to grow as the individuals in the relationship grow. Growth is very important in these, these very committed relationships. And, that's kind of my take on it. Like, I think that love is a very important thing. Being in love is a great feeling, and conversely, going through a breakup is a very crushing and defeating and just devastating feeling. And it's something that it's a pain that is in a way is necessary for growth, because through a breakup you come back stronger. You build yourself back up to become better than you were before. That's been, at least in my experience, and that's in a lot of people's experience, and that's how it should be. You should be able to build back better, which I think is a Biden campaign slogan. But come back better as a better individual. It's important that you are able to recognize your faults and where you need to grow as a person through a breakup. And I definitely find that through them I feel much more empowered. I feel very I feel like I'm able to grow and change and do the things in my life that are important to me and will help benefit me in the long term. And I think that's very important to recognize. And finding somebody in your life that's also like-minded in that sense, somebody that also has their outlets and their creative flows, and the things that they enjoy, their own hobbies, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Finding somebody that has their own hobbies and things that they like to do is very important, because as in a relationship, as individuals, you still have to be able to have time for your individual things. And it's very important that you don't become overbearing and become codependent on somebody, because that's a very negative thing, and that takes a toll on a relationship over time and is a very negative, toxic sort of thing. And so I think that it's very important to recognize these things and kind of have your standards, be able to say, be able to have your standards in the backbone to be able to take a step back and say what you have to say, and be able to communicate and be open. And I think that's very, very important in relationships, especially ones that are supposed to be long term and to go on for a very long time. These are very important things to have. And so finding somebody that is able to do those things and be the same way is important. And you find who's meant to be for you, I think, at the end of the day. Like, love is a great feeling, and love from the person that you're meant to be with, I think, is probably a very special feeling, something that you just know and feel. And for those of the viewers out here, I'm about to be wrapping this up here, I think, but for those of the viewers out there who are kind of going through heartbreak or are in a situation like that, going through pain, it's very important to stay strong. Keep your head up. Don't wallow in your in your depression or your pain. Don't wallow in it. Do things that empower you and make you feel good. For me, that's music. Writing music, or doing this podcast even, is something for me that's helpful in those situations. It's finding outlets that are able to provide you relief are very important. And whether that be music or art or going to the gym or studying, doing school, whatever that is for you, focus on those things. Let those things build you back up, empower you to become a stronger person through the pain. And it is very true, the saying that time heals all wounds. It's very true. At least in situations like this, breakups and stuff like that. It's very true that time does make everything easier. And even though it will feel like the end of the world, it's not. You're going to come back stronger and better from it. And it might be hard to see it that way, but it will come in time, and you can do it. Y'all are very strong people. Y'all are strong individuals, and do not let, a misstep in your life like this, just kill you, especially when you're young like I am. Like, I'm 18. Like, I'm giving this advice as somebody who is only 18 years old in my experiences and like these, teenage high school relationship type things. And, going forward as an adult, I'm sure it's, a different sort of ball game. But, at the end of the day, the core is still the same. Like, do not let a misstep in your life, a breakup, something bad, do not let that tear you down and destroy you and just let you become a shell of your former self. You can't let it do that. You got to build yourself back up. You got to do the things that empower you and make you feel good, and you will come back better in time. And that's all it takes, really, is time. But I believe in every single one of y'all that are listening to this. In all aspects, I believe in all of y'all. But the ones that are going through breakups or hard times, I believe in y'all. Y'all will get through y'all's hard times, and you will be stronger people through the end. I know. It's just my experience in life and kind of like a wisdom thing, I guess. I don't know. But with that being said, that wraps up the discussion for today. And this episode actually ran long, 30 minutes here, as it says on my Audacity file or like readout thing here. So I'm gonna be wrapping this up. But I hope y'all enjoyed that sort of deep dive into social things, I guess. And I really like doing deep dives on topics, especially stuff like that. Like, I don't know. I like psychology, and, I like, feelings and emotions. And, I love researching that kind of stuff. And having conversations like that where I can open up and talk about my own personal experiences a little bit is really nice, too. And so if y'all enjoyed that kind of style content or enjoyed the format of this video, I guess, being that it's different from the past, definitely let me know. And let me know in the comments kind of what I could do more deep dives on, because I would love to do more kind of, fireside chat type videos like this where I just sit and talk about stuff and give advice. I don't know. It's kind of cool. But I would love to hear the feedback about that. So let me know in the comments what you think. But with that being said, I have been Colin. Stay chill, and I will see y'all in the next episode here. But have a good night. I hope everything finds you in positive health and in a positive mind, and stay safe out there. But I will see y'all next time.